Dylan, you there? You good?
Yes, I'm in space.
Oh, hey, an aurora borealis.
I don't know how. Can you hear me? I don't know which microphone. I have three things on my screen. I don't know which.
I'm reading you loud and clear, my dude.
Okay, all right.
So an
I have
aurora
the AI
borealis.
thing
Yeah.
ready to go. So if it gets annoying, I'll kick up the AI power.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Is it recording?
It's absolutely going live right now.
Nice, nice.
All right, just gotta block out a section of time here at the start to drop in an intro. Oh god, it's so quiet. Hold on, I need to do. No, I just do fix that in post and mute this out. Hello and welcome to Hello We Don't Talk. Let's Talk. The podcast hosted by myself, Christopher Hua, and it's a show where I talk to old friends. Today's guest is Dylan. I've never had to say your last name before.
Abbas. In
Abbas.
English, it's Abbas. In Arabic, is Abbas. My name is Delan Abbas.
And you are coming to us from the Northern Lights.
From Northern Lights, Twasin, British Columbia.
Excellent. So the last time we met, I think may have been either at a land. Oh no,
You
you're
like it?
revealing too much. So I think the last time we met in a physical space, in the before time, was I think at like a LAN party at your house maybe, or just
Yeah,
like a
in my
hangout at
basement.
Paul's. Yeah,
Yeah, I think we played Team Fortress 2.
and that was like a million years ago. So Dylan, I now
Probably 2011, 2012.
still rocking the beard, digging the look.
Yes, it's
It's
part of me. It's always there.
so my understanding is now that you live out in British Columbia. When the hell did that happen, and
That
why?
happened in February, in the middle of February. I got a job offer here from Amazon, so I
Oh,
moved out
sick,
here.
dude.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
yeah.
What is your role?
I am an IT guy. I
Excellent.
I I turn things off and on again.
It's just like they say in the movies.
They pay me too much to turn things off and on again. That's my role.
Listen, if you like sharing any wealth at any point, I know some people.
Oh no, they don't pay me like an absorbent amount of money. It's just for what I do. It's.
So how have you been? We haven't
I'm
spoken in a
good.
while, and that is the gist of what I want to get at today.
Yeah, it's like we used to play a lot of games together. I remember we played League of Legends maybe when it
Yep,
came out.
the old Baron DJ. That
Yeah,
that
yeah,
handle.
yeah. I still have like Baron somewhere in my name. Like I think going with. Let me check my Steam. Where am I at? I just want to know. What's my Steam name? Purple Baron. That's what it is right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's still got purple in there.
So with the move, how have you been staying connected? Were you able to meet new people locally to where you are
No,
before
no.
things kicked in?
It was terrible. It was the worst thing. What happened was move, and then hey, let's go out do stuff. Oh no, you can't. You just stay right where you are. Don't you dare.
But still generally keeping connected with the people back home then?
Yeah, yeah. Calls, messages, sending memes.
How's the time differential affected things
Three
at all?
3 hours. So it's now 3 hours after you,
Yep,
before you.
before.
I don't know how time works.
Time doesn't mean anything anymore right now. So, in the intervening years between when we last met and the recent past of February, uh, what happened? What have you been up to So you presumably graduated with a degree in a field related to your current job, I assume. No,
So, remember when we were in high school? When did you finish high school? 2012, was it?
2010.
2010. Okay, I finished 2012.
Mm-hmm.
I took an extra year, and then from there, I went to University of Waterloo for Environment and Business co-op program.
The big old NBUS program. My sister was part of that. She also
Really?
didn't get a job related to environment and business, as far as I can tell.
My sister is also doing that program now.
It's a popular thing and very recent.
I think it's because it's easy to get into.
No comment.
That's my experience. That's why I chose it.
So then you graduated presumably sometime in like between
2012.
2016 2018.
2017 actually, because it was a 5-year program. So 2012 to 2017 co-op. I did co-ops, and I couldn't get co-ops until in the program.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was I just applied to IT stuff because that's what I've been doing just personally, and then I got them, and then the next co-op, the same thing happened, IT, and then when I graduated, I did.
It's like I just have all this work experience. I guess I'll do some
Yeah,
more
so
IT.
so I applied to Amazon and I got it.
Nice. Uh, a business currently with a lot of different opinions about the ethics of the employee employer relationship in the grand scheme of things, not like specific to your department, I guess.
Um, I don't know. It's fine. Everything's fine in Canada. All the problems are in the States. Yeah, it's different. There's a different way of doing things in Canada than all the problems that's happening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 years out of graduation, I guess what were you doing in the to sort of keep yourself busy? Because from what I remember about you, you had there was this group of people that you were friends with, very high energy people, down for
Oh yeah.
pretty much anything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Those were. Yeah, I'm still with them.
Nice.
Yeah.
I saw Gordon Chaco Blanco at a gym at like Crunch one time.
Choco, good old Choco. Yeah.
Just like saw him hitting a punching bag and glanced over. It's like, is that is that Gordon? And he was a guy that like I would also see at my parent like in the neighborhood around my parents' home a lot. Like just casually out and about, just like driving somewhere usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's Choco. Yeah, he's doing good. Um, he got his first useless degree in English,
a multi degree.
and then he's doing his second useless degree in political science. I'm only saying that because he says it too. It's not like I'm
Of
making it up.
course, of
A
course.
well-known
You would
fact.
never do that.
Oh no, no, not
Good for
yeah.
him. I'll have him on the show at some point, I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, do it, do it. He'll have lots of stories for you.
But in terms of like hobbies to occupy your time, we had played video games in the past. Did you keep that up? Did you drop it as you
Yeah,
got older?
I stopped for a while. So before I was at Amazon, I was working in Guelph for a year at NSF International. So that must have been between 2018, 2019, August 2018 till November 2019.
Mhm.
And during that time, I was biking around a lot. Uh, but now, yeah, I'm back to playing video games. I rebuilt my computer, some extra parts in there. I've been playing Age of Empires 3. Do you know Age of Empires? Have you played Age of Empires?
I played Age of Empires like maybe a decade ago. It's been a
Yeah,
while since I've taken a look at it.
yeah. It's I got back into it. I got a lot of my friends back into it. And did we ever play StarCraft 2 together?
Yes, we did.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Man, it's been a while since StarCraft 2 even
Yeah,
released because I think I played that for like maybe 2 or 3 years and then
yeah. That was fun
let it go.
time. Like
Yeah.
it was before the expansions. It was a very nice game, and they had a good scene too. It was nice to see
Watch pro.
castings for, yeah,
Yeah.
pro casting.
So you consider yourself solidly an RTS type of guy?
Oh, I love real-time strategy games. I'm also playing Total War Shogun 2,
Mm.
which is like a strategy plus real-time strategy, like turn-based, like Civ, turn-based strategy.
Yep.
And then you go into battles, which is real-time strategy.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know why I never got into Civ. I remember we tried to play it once, and you gifted me
Yeah.
the one expansion. That was very nice of you. Thank you. But I
I,
can't get into real-time strategy. I mean, turn-based strategy.
yeah. There's definitely a longer process to a turn-based strategy game usually. Um, that an RTS is like 20 minutes a map maybe at like an upper bound.
Yeah, I think I'm slowly getting into it with Shogun. With like, okay, it's not just a battle; it's a war.
Mhm.
I have a clan. I have to make sure my people are happy. Make sure that my kid grows up to become a general. I marry him. I get a kid from him. But then I end up playing on hard, so I don't exist past turn 20. I always give up because I pissed off the shogunate, and all the clans are ganging up against me. It's not an easy game.
I'll check it out sometime maybe.
Yeah, it was free last weekend.
On Steam or
Yeah, on Steam, free to keep.
damn.
Yeah,
Uh, I missed out on a deal.
dude, it's a deal. It's a $35 game, and they gave it away from Steam.
That's
I looked up
wild.
at the charts, like the Steam charts,
Mhm.
where you see how many people play the game,
Yep.
and 50,000 more users the game had.
That's what that free does, man.
Yeah,
Baby.
yeah, yeah. I love that RTS. RTS is good stuff. Doom. Doom is a great game I played recently. The first Doom, 2016,
Mhm.
and then now
Eternal.
starting Doom Eternal. And I'm not the guy to play games on hard, but I'm
Mhm.
recently doing it, and I'm dying a lot. It's
But it feels all the more rewarding when you just like
oh
push
yeah,
through.
yeah. Like there's like a phase in the game, not like a level, just one fight
Mhm.
that I died, I think, at least 30 times before I got it.
Have you ever considered playing like a Dark Souls type of
No,
game?
never, never. I always make fun of my friend. I have a friend who just like loves those like get good games, they call them.
Yeah.
I always make fun of him for that. I'm like, those games are not fun. Just
Yeah, just throw your controller across the room.
yeah, they just piss off. It's just like put wear and tear on your controllers. You put wear and tear on you, and you just don't really get much out of it.
So aside from the gaming, is there anything else uh, that you're into hobby wise?
Yeah, I got into electronics for a while. I Arduino's those little
Like a Raspberry Pi type
processors.
thing?
Yeah, I got into them for a while. Soldering, making circuit boards, programming them, making lights, that kind of thing.
Sick.
Um,
Any
yeah,
particular projects that you're
yeah.
proud of?
I built a kind of light strip that goes behind my monitor. I don't have it set up now,
Yeah.
but so like whatever's on my screen, the lights correspond to that.
Sick.
So yeah, let me see if I can. Yeah.
I
Do
think
you
I
have a
saw.
Jamie that pulls up things for you? Who's
Nah,
got a Jamie that pulls up things
this is
for
a
you?
one man operation. I don't have this fancy JRE setup. Bring up the video of that baboon.
Gorillas, man, they're crazy.
My bad. They'll tear you apart, man. It's crazy.
Have you ever tried
DMT. Oh, Joe Rogan, what a guy. Host of Fear Factor and avid Quake player.
Avid quick player? He brings that up. I got that T1 internet connection. Didn't he have the Doom guy on not the Doom guy himself, that guy who was involved in the making of Doom on him on the
I believe so. I'll be honest. I've never actually listened to an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, even the slightest. Everything I know from it is just like people
from him.
memeing about it. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I see that.
If you let me share my screen. I'll show you one of the projects I've done.
Absolutely. Never had to do this before. I think if you just start sharing the screen, it works just
It says
fine.
host disabled participant screen sharing.
Well, I didn't do anything of that sort. Oh, never mind. I found it. Go for it, pimp.
All right, Jamie. Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay, so it's I have a music visualizer going on, like playing music, and then so the lights are behind my screen.
That is incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love it. I've been wanting to recreate that stuff for a while. I'm now only using one screen and no lights, so I recreate it.
What's the space like in your current I'm assuming apartment?
Yes, I'm living with my brother now. It's I don't know. It's fine. It's just doing a living room thing. Uh, Bedrooms for sleeping.
What was
That's
that arrangement like to move across the older or younger brother?
older, 2 years.
Gotcha. So was he out there first, or was this you uh, spearing
Yeah,
the
he was
move?
out here since September,
Mm.
and he was generous enough to invite me to let me stay here for a bit.
The kindness of siblings.
Yeah, and surprisingly, non-surprisingly, he also works at Amazon, and he's the one who also helped me get a job at Amazon. He emailed my
Uh,
boss saying,
I know a guy.
"I know a guy."
Don't
You
pay
know a
attention
guy?
to his last name at all.
It's just a coincidence that his
Yeah,
last name is good.
it's a
Yeah,
very common last name.
yeah.
And if you don't think so, you're racist. Mm.
Yeah, my setup right now is just my screen, one screen, which is downgrade from 3 screens. 3 screens is overkill, but I liked it.
So I know, like working at an office, the IT experience is just like yeah, you do a service call if you need to, or they like call you. What's that IT experience like as a remote situation?
I'm not doing what? I'm actually going into work.
Ooh,
Yeah, and it's not even an office; it's a warehouse. Yeah, I did an office thing. I'm done with the office thing. That didn't well for a year. It was pretty boring. They had me in my like small office. It's like a cabinet
hmm,
or a closet.
yeah,
They cramped a desk in there. They're like, "Here's your office," and then that was pretty lame.
like
Most
yikes.
of my team was in Ann Arbor, so that's so I quit that job and I came here and I'm working in a huge warehouse, supporting lots of people, lots of things.
What was your reaction like the first time you stepped into that warehouse?
It was overwhelming. Overwhelming. It's if you think about the idea of things moving from one place to the next, like logistics,
Yep.
you you would get mind blown by how fast things get done at Amazon. Like
Oh
the
wow.
amount of logistics of things coming in and just like moving. Like things don't stay in one spot for any like long amount of time. Things just keep moving.
Yeah.
Like it's this. It's mind blowing. It's very hard to explain how like there's conveyors, yeah, but there's people also moving things,
Hmm.
and there's like plans, schedules, upkeep, algorithms. There's system. There's so much happening all the time. It's insane. Yeah, it's mind blowing.
Nice.
Very good place to be working at, and very interesting place to be working at after this entire quarantine thing, where everybody is now sitting at home ordering things, and we are like very
the
very
the the one stop shop, as it were.
yeah.
What do you think is going to be the first thing you do once lockdown is over?
I'd probably go to a bar, hang out there alone, drinking beers, and then few beers in, get to know people, get to know because I assume everybody else will be like, I just want to talk to you. So
That's a safe bet for sure.
yeah, I've been going out biking. Uh, Vancouver is a very fun place to bike.
Hmm.
There's a lot of beachside trails. Like my background is like I went kayaking one
Ooh,
time. Yeah, it's like inflatable kayaks that my friend has, and that's Vancouver. It's a picture I took 2 weeks ago.
What's the weather like over there right now? Because over here it is alternating between snow and the brightest sunlight of all time.
It is absolutely beautiful right now. It's
God
like
damn it.
20 degrees, no clouds. Yeah.
That dang moderating effect from the huge ass ocean.
Dude, I tell everyone I know, every chance I get, you're in the wrong goddamn province. Chris, if you want nice weather more than three months of the year,
Mhm.
come to Vancouver.
I will say, good weather is probably wasted on a guy like me and my habits.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you probably didn't change much. Oh, quarantine before quarantine afterward. You're still inside on your computer all day. Dude,
Yeah, I'll
I'm on
never
the
tell.
computer all day also. It's
Yeah.
just that I also love being
Oh,
outside.
for sure.
Like whenever I'm inside, I'm in this seat on the computer.
Mhm. So you got your current job as like a sort of circumstantial thing of how your work experiences went. Um, if you weren't at your current job, what would you like to have been doing with your academic career?
Oh, probably as far as away from my academic career as possible. I like being creative, and like the electronics things allow me to be creative. Uh, I don't like necessarily like routine or standard work. I mean, my academics involved being creative, and we studied how businesses work
Hmm.
and how businesses have to prioritize social capital, environment, and, and environment. People plan profits. That the triple bottom line. We learned about that for 5 years. We did projects. It was good. We did capstone projects, and yeah. But I like being creative, and I think my current job has elements of creativity in there, like finding solutions, like physical solutions, technological solutions. It's good. Yeah. If I wasn't doing this right now, I would just find something for myself to do. Join some kind of technically creative place where I can be creative. Yeah.
Nice. Throughout lockdown, do you feel like outside of like social interaction, like physical human contact, is there something that you are really yearning for? Like, do you feel like there's an aspect of like for me, the reason why I started this podcast was just like like I'm lacking a creative outlet, so I just started doing this. Um, is there a similar aspect of your life that you feel is lacking currently, or do you feel
First off,
complete?
I love this podcast because it's just it's weird. Like, okay, a lot of people you're tapping into your social group of friends. Like, even though you didn't talk to them, a lot of people would find it awkward. That's, oh, hey, I didn't talk to them. I don't want to talk to them for a while. I know I'm that way. Like, if I didn't talk to somebody, the longer I go without talking to them, like, you really don't want to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But you're brave in doing this. You're like, hey, we don't talk.
Let's talk.
Like, what's wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
if you don't want to talk to me, if you don't want to be involved with me, just say no. Just ignore me. You don't even have to say no.
This podcast is here to put Bell on blast with that Let's Talk program. It's like, nah, man, you're not doing a thing. I'm out. I'm out here. I'm showing people how to get it done.
Man, I am not a fan of that thing.
Oh,
That
nobody
Let's
is.
Talk.
I think the only people who like it are Bell execs because it gets people talking about Bell. It's not even happening right now, and I'm doing it. So frankly, I'm just gonna stop talking about it altogether.
Yeah. What was your question though?
Is there an aspect of your life that you feel um, is not being fulfilled at
Yes.
this time?
I'm a pretty social person,
Mm-hmm.
and considering like I left my family and my friends moving here, I was like, oh hey, I'll just go out every weekend, go to like parks, go to events, go to whatever, just get to know people. But it's like, oh no, you don't get to do that anymore. So now, not that it's a bad second like fallback, but now I have to push more for like staying in contact with people,
Mm-hmm.
voice chat, and like maintaining a quality of relationship even though we're not physically close, which is not easy. Like video chatting is pretty close to up there, but not everybody can video chat comfortably. They don't have cameras, microphones.
Yeah.
Everybody has a phone.
Speaking of people in a physical space, how is living with your brother as like two adults living independently change your relationship in any way, if at all?
It's okay. We've done it before. We stay out of each other's way. I don't know. We go well together. Like
Hmm.
stay out of each other's way. That's fine.
How's chorin? Split up evenly? Everybody making their own meals, cleaning them out for themselves, essentially.
No, I do everything. Yeah,
You're carrying the household.
yeah. No, that's fine. I don't mind it. I appreciate a clean house. So,
Who doesn't?
how about you? Where are you living now?
I'm currently living with my friend Marco and his brother Alex. I don't know if you know them particularly well. They did go to.
Marco went to Cameron.
Yes, Marco did go to Cameron.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah. It's a nice house of Marco's own design,
Whoa.
and he just finished build. Well, I can't tell. I haven't looked outside to see if it's actually finished or not. But he built a deck in like the last couple weeks, which is, once this is all over and the weather's actually like stable and not erratic as it currently is, gonna kick back on that with some barbecue and stuff.
Not gonna lie, on Instagram a few days ago, I
Mhm.
saw some people like posting pictures of their decks. Like some of my Ontario friends, like deck weather and all that. Like at least 5 of them.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, cool. They're gonna enjoy their decks. And they're nice weather, and it's raining here at the time. And
Yeah.
then now it's inverted out to the beach. They were like sending me. I sent them pictures, and they sent me pictures of like ice storms. Ontario.
That's what it means to like win out on the divorce. Essentially, it's like look at my life now. It's pretty great.
Yes, no.
Your brother seems to agree.
Yeah. Yeah, he's playing FIFA.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, with his friends in Berlin.
Man, Kitchener used to be called Berlin. That's a weird tangent. I'm gonna cut
New
that out.
Berlin. New Berlin. One of the coolest, funniest, weirdest shirts I found walking down in front of the GRT terminal was DNA printing, I think it was called.
Mhm.
And it was like, no place bitchener than Kitchener. And there was like Lord Kitchener's face in the middle. I was so close to buying it.
Ooh, I should check that store out to see if it's still there. I'll mail it to you.
No. Can't find the picture of the t-shirt.
Unlucky.
That was a while ago. That was a few years ago.
So last week when I had Milan on, he really wanted to talk about conspiracy theories.
Oh, conspiracy theories, yeah.
Leading up to the show, we didn't really arrange anything. Is there anything that you want to discuss?
I'm not a very conspiracy theories. Like I entertain conspiracy theories.
Sure.
Like I'm always open to hearing, hey, what's your conspiracy theories? But I don't like come up with them.
Yeah.
Actually, I do come up with them, but I dismiss them as fast as I come up with them.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
I'm like, oh, hey, that could happen. Oh, I could do that. And as a result of that, they don't get stuck with me. Like, I don't know, what's a conspiracy I thought of recently?
I must admit, is there any topic of your own devising that you want to talk about? Like, what's something that you're particularly passionate about at this time?
Right now, I don't know. I can't think of much. I really been enjoying going outside and biking, like going just spending time outside. Okay, so the way my work schedule works is I work 4 days a week, Sunday to Wednesday.
Mhm.
And I know you didn't want to know about that in the chat because you wanted to talk about it here. Let's talk about how I ruined your podcast.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I absolutely ruined your podcast. I told you something you did not ask me about. And your podcast.
So leading up to booking any particular guest for this show, any fact that they tell me is a fact that I cannot ask them about on the show? Because like I already know it. I don't need to ask it anymore.
But ask it again. Like now, ask me, when do you work?
When do you work?
I don't know. I already told you that. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, no. So the way it works is Sunday to Wednesday I work. So
Mhm.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday I get off, and the weather is usually nice. I go for walks. I go for bike rides around here. But I know we're not supposed to. But Mike, I've been hanging out with since the beginning of quarantine. Like he's like one of the extended bubbles I have. You
Mhm.
could say like I have my brother bubble, work bubble, and work is very safe. Like barely close to anyone. And Mike, like the first few days of quarantine, I hung out with him. He stays at home and hangs out with me, so we're safe in that.
Yeah.
And we go out. We go out biking. We keep each other safe. We go around Stanley Park, which is can I point that? Can show my hand. That's Stanley Park right there.
Gotcha.
There's like a bike trail that goes around the outside, but they closed it for people because so many people are walking. So they
Mhm.
closed down the roads for cars, and now it's for bikes. So now you can go really fast on it. You can go down the hill, and you hit 60 kilometers an hour biking, and it's amazing.
So even when you were in Ontario, you said that you started getting into bike riding. What brought that on?
Um, I lived in Toronto in 2016, and I had a nice bike fixie called Opal. And my friend Ali was living in Toronto also at the time. He went to um, Toronto for civil engineering, University of Toronto, and he was also had a fixie, and we would go around biking, and we would just he'd come to my place, and we'd leave the house, and like each separation of the road, one of us would say left, and then we'll go left, and then next one somebody will say left, right or left, like we'll alternate where to go. And we ended up exploring all of Toronto, just like leave from the morning, come back at night.
Damn.
Just we do that every weekend, and just the greatest adventures. Just like, oh hey, I'm hungry. We'll go buy some like snacks, like toast, bread, and just make it, pack it, and like go with us. So yeah,
That's incredible.
biking is very adventure oriented because you walk around, you're like, okay, I want to go there. Like half an hour, you're there.
Mhm.
But for biking, you're like, hey,
You
I
could
see that over there. Let's go there, and you like bike really, really fast, and you get there really fast.
you cut down the travel time so you get to just see more things in a day.
Yeah, it's very adventure oriented, which is what I like. Like, it's one of my favorite ways of exploring cities, even when traveling. Like this one time, went to Berlin. We're like, oh hey, let's go to downtown, and we rented bikes, like one of those bikes that you rent,
Mhm.
and just biked around. It's so much fun to bike.
So how much do you know about? Like I assume that you do a decent job of maintaining your own bike.
Oh
Um,
no, no, no.
oh no.
Terrible job maintaining my bike. My bike is it's only like because that's why I had a fixie because I don't know how to fix my bike.
Yeah, I
The
have.
fixie is a fixed gears, like you don't have to do anything. But now I came here, I bought a bike. It has 10 speed, which is like 2 gears up front, 5 in the back, and the brake broke, so I had to figure out how to fix it. And yeah, just figure it out as you go.
Do some googling.
I didn't even do googling. I
Ooh,
was like, this is one of those things that you just gotta figure out.
this is a machine. I can figure out how this all goes together.
Yeah, like at first thing I tried to do was try to turn it off and then turn it back on again. That's what I do. That's my standard operating procedure for
Yeah.
everything. It's like, oh, it's broken. Just turn it off, turn it back on. And then if that doesn't work, then you actually have to do work fixing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't apply to a bike, but
Last year I bought my first bike as an adult, and I also bought. It's not a fixed gear, but it is like a single gear. Um,
that's a fixed gear.
but like, it's not the fixed gear where like, if you stop pedaling, it stops like
Oh,
moving
yeah,
altogether.
so the one I had is a freewheeling. So some of the hubs actually flip over, so become a fixed gear. So like there's a flip flop hub is what it's called.
Mm.
So yours is actually like a freewheeling fixed gear.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
know if that's the technical term.
it's just currently chilling in the garage. I rode it like maybe 4 or 5 times, and I
Did
have
you
no.
get it used or
I bought it new from like Bronze and Waterloo.
nice?
Yeah.
What is it a good size for you? Because I find what's discouraging for a lot of people when they ride bikes is like it's not comfortable.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and it's you gotta like first thing you gotta know how where to position your body. But if the bike is too small or too big for your body type, then your legs are gonna be cramped. Like you can only raise the seat up so much,
Yeah.
and you can only do so much to like variably adjust it. But if a bike is made, not made, but purchased to fit you, then you're just that much more comfortable riding. And it's something I'm facing right now with a used bike I bought. It's a little too small for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I raised up the seat, but I'm gonna have to buy something to raise the front handlebars.
Yep.
Handlebars, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the first few times I rode it, I cramped up like super hard. Um, but like I think if the seat were any higher, I could not get onto it comfortably and like stop comfortably.
Yeah, there is a limit to how high up the seat can go, like, and you staying comfortable. Like once you get going, you like once you want to stop, you get off the seat and you pretty much off the pedals and on the ground. And when you want to start again, you just kind of jump up on the seat, which is not comfortable.
Oh
Most
yeah,
best thing ever.
just gonna sack myself every time I get onto a bike.
And dude, why don't they make comfortable, cheap bike seats that are not prone to be stolen? Like, I want to get a comfy bike seat.
Just get
I
it.
don't know.
Have like a horse saddle. Just
Horse
just
saddle. Oh, I
just
like that.
just fully out to the side.
I wore cowboy pants with the tassels. Or whatever.
Yeah. Get some spurs on your biking shoes. Giddy up.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be hilarious.
Hmm.
I want to show you another project I worked on.
Cool.
It's a woodworking project.
Hmm.
I did with my friend Tony. Don't think you know him. Let me know when you see this.
It is visible.
It is visible. So I'll just briefly go over this. It's just we got wood. We cut the wood, and then we glued the wood together, and then we cut it some more, and then we dug grooves into it like over there, and the end result was amazing. We ended up with a chess set.
Pretty dope.
Yeah, it's like it was my idea. My friend Tony helped me with it, and I made the chess set and I gifted it to my dad
Ah, nice.
because my dad loves chess and he loves playing chess with me. So this was my goodbye gift to him. Not goodbye, but like, hey, I'm leaving. Here, remember
A
this.
parting gift.
A parting gift. There you go, parting gift.
Uh, what's the win record against your dad in chess?
He's won maybe 12 times. I've won 0.
Nice.
Like, he's won every single time. Every single time. I've never.
You can't beat the master.
He has like so many more years on playing chess. Like he can't like he'll be like, okay, take a week to think of your turn, and then he like there's no way to beat him. There's no way to beat him. Yeah, chess is fun. Do you play chess?
I played chess with my sister because like when we were kids, we spent a lot of time at my grandparents' place. So to pass the time, my parents bought me like it was just like this giant tin that had like 7 games in one box. Because the board for chess is similar to a board for checkers and some other things. So I played like a few games with my sister, and then we realized that we were both just like bad at chess and kind of doing whatever. And then we got older. I was like, well, we don't need to play chess ever again.
Yeah.
So it's been a hot minute.
Hot minute, yeah. Chess is great. Like it teaches you how to think strategically and commit to your decisions. It's like
You
like thinking, oh hey, I can attack here, but then you're like they do another move, you're like, oh crap, I didn't think of that, and then you're like regretting your life decisions at that point.
Oh yeah, just really planning out things in advance, and also reacting to things that you may not have planned for,
Yeah, it's
which is
great.
really just life.
Yeah. You know what? I will teach my kid chess to teach him about life, and I would never let them win.
My uncle has repeatedly asked me to help teach my cousin how to play chess. He's like a 6-year-old,
Yeah.
and like I don't know how to explain things to small children.
It's not easy explaining things to little kids because they don't have like the abstract, like they don't understand it. Like you have to relate things to them and things they understand,
Yeah,
like which is so little.
it's like I'm barely registering that the fact that the kid, like at the time at the first time he asked me, it's like I don't even know if your son has object permanence yet.
Wait,
Like
when do kids learn object permanence?
I want to say it's like 2 or 3 years old,
Okay.
if not earlier. Maybe one. It's been a while since I took my first psychology class where we learned about infant development.
Yeah. Do you want to see another project? I'm sorry, I have my Google Photos open and I keep coming across
Yeah, man,
albums.
show me everything that you have ever been into.
So this is a plan I had for a panel, light panel, like
Mhm.
prototype, proof of concept kind of thing. You take a piece of wood, put lights in it, uh, take ping pong balls. I ordered a whole bunch of them from Amazon, AliExpress, and I put a hole
Stole
through
them
them,
from the
put them on the
warehouse.
lights, and I then programmed the lights to do things. So it ended up really cool. I'm really happy with that. And my idea with it was I can either expand it to fill up like more space or like make it a box so it's a panel so you can like make two, six, five more of them and
Yeah.
make a cube. And this is one of the ones of times I took it to a music festival and
Ooh.
I attached it to a tree and it was really cool. A lot of people seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll say. I will take this time to say anybody listen to the audio only version. Um, I might post like screen caps of this later on, or you can just watch the video version of the podcast and get the full visual experience that is being offered
Oh,
to us.
oh, I'm gonna continue showing visual things for the audio people to tempt you to. Um,
I need those YouTube views.
oh, you
I
need
need to
YouTube.
monetize this podcast in general.
This is my
Cassandra, you
Cassandra.
named your machine.
Yes, Cassandra. It's nice. I got some lights in there too.
So on that electronics hobby work that you've been doing, how what led you to getting into that, and what was the
Oh,
learning process like?
the learning process involved just understanding how electronics work. So knowing that all of the electronics can be controlled via an electronic signal that's either digital or analog, and then getting a whole bunch of potentiometers, which you like move around and then connect lights to and analog control how bright it is, and then from there getting it an Arduino connecting to it, and then reading the analog signal from the analog potentiometers, changing it to digital, and then I ended up just buying electronics. Like if I look at my AliExpress order history, there's pages and pages of like components. I can build a phone maybe with the amount of things I have. I have screens, I have everything. I don't have them here, but yeah, I have a lot of things. It's like a junkyard of things, but yeah, it's been a very fun learning process. Like I think of a project, I plan it out, I engineer. Another fun project was a portable lighting. I had my friend Zach help me print 3D print a case for it. Took the measurements and put light buttons on it and like make it somewhat a finished product. It's that journey from like a janky ass thing to like somewhat finished product I like. But of course, I lose interest in things or things break down. Yeah, it's a very fun process. Learn a lot. Programming them is good. You're like typing on your computer. You like okay, these are lines of code, numbers and words or whatever, and then you press a button, and then the computer sends it to this littler computer that sends more littler information to these lights that does things. It's like it's weird, somewhat very fun and addicting. It's like rewarding. It's very rewarding
Yeah,
for sure.
it's good to have like a nice sort of tangible reward,
Yeah, yeah,
like
because
immediately.
coding coding the most discouraging part of it is like you're on a computer, you're like you click run, and it's like, oh look,
Here's a bunch of errors.
hello world came up here. Whoa, yay! But if you have a little screen and you code hello world, hey, Arduino, send these commands, get this library from here, send these commands to the Arduino, which sends it to the screen that says hello world. It's just that much more rewarding because it's like you can see it. You can tell, hey, look, it says hello world. You can't do that. How do that? Yeah, it's fun. It's very fun.
Sick. I need. You brought up Zach. I think I'm having him as a guest next week. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. I like it. We're bringing. Honestly, I'll give you a bunch of like Zach and Gordon. Have them on together. Have you ever considered that?
I've absolutely considered the world of multi-guest appearances because I know people who are, they're like married and stuff to other people that I know, and it's insane.
Like, remember that thing you said about my group of friends being very, very energetic and fun?
Yes.
Yes. Milan is part of that, became part of that, and we have lots of stories. lots of stories, and Zach and Gordon are one of the storytellers. They have those stories, and if you bring them on, they'll like just bounce off of each other and just tell you story after story after story.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, do it.
Absolutely, I'm gonna write that down.
Also,
to make sure I don't forget.
Milan's podcast. That was really nice.
Hopefully, the internet issues weren't too distracting.
It was bearable.
Excellent. That's all I want this podcast to be.
Yeah.
Bearable.
No, the audio issues were the podcast was very engaging and enjoyable.
I'm just fun.
Yeah, you know that picture of like the guy eating something with the image is like listening to the podcast like.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Ooh, that you have no idea how much it warms my heart.
Wait, what?
The feeling of being in a space where people are having conversation that you feel like you could also be a part of, is truly the gist of what the essence of this particular show.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. It feels validating.
Yeah, I was listening to it at work, and I was doing something somewhat mindless, and I was like fixing something, just listening to it. It was good. It was a good time. And I listened a little bit to it while I'm driving. Yeah, it's nice that you're having me on. It's good to be back. Can we swear on this podcast? I was thinking.
Yes, we can absolutely swear on this podcast. I
was thinking of things that they say on podcasts all the time. I'll just listen to them and check them out. Can we swear on this podcast? Check.
It's a classic trope.
A classic trope. Thanks for having me on. Check. Say.
I look forward to the Amazon plug at the end.
Oh yeah, you want the
it's
Amazon
like,
plug?
If you want something, ever heard of it? It's a place called Amazon.
I just dropped something new, a new website. It's called Amazon. www.amazon.com/Delan. Get your 0% off right now.
Do you get a promo code as an employee at all?
Yes, I get 10% off up to a certain amount. Not much, but only on Amazon basic stuff.
Nice.
I haven't used it.
You have other siblings too, right? It's not just the brother.
Little sister and an older brother.
How are they doing?
They're good. My sister's in NBUS. She finished her first year. She's getting better marks than me, except in one course.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I was fully expecting that because I didn't really try that hard. I just wanted my degree.
That is a mentality that I can relate to very, very heavily.
Yeah, it's an economical thing. You put minimal effort, you get your 70, you get your degree.
Yeah, it's about hitting your goals. You don't need to crush your goals.
Aim for the stars, land in the moon, right? That's what they say.
Yeah. I think I shared one or two courses with my sister. Like, we had the same lecture. And I think we may have split 50-50 in terms of, like, who did better. Or maybe I just crushed her. Who knows?
Yeah.
The facts are out there, but we will never revisit them.
Yeah, shall never revisit this one. Do you stay in contact with people you went to university with?
Some of them.
Some of them.
I didn't talk to many people that I had classes with. So anybody from university that I talked to is mostly from the improv club, which is truly the greatest experience of my life was realizing that UW had an improv club, because you just walk into the room and it's like, oh, yes, these are my people.
Man, improv is great. Like I've tried doing it with my friends. Like we had like, you know, scenes where somebody's sitting on the bench and then I don't know, somebody brought it in, like said, let's play that in improv.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Improv is great. It's not easy.
Oh, yeah. The club had a performance team, and I was in the club for like 3 years. I think the first year I didn't even try out for the performance team.
Hello?
Second year I went for it. Hello? Your video has frozen. Okay, we're good. Okay,
Did you have
we're back.
Technical difficulties paper that you pulled out? You're like.
I pressed Alt Tab. It went to like a crude MS Paint drawing.
Man, I love that Community's back on Netflix.
I'm so happy that Community found a home, that more people get to see it, and that more people are enjoying it.
It was on Amazon Prime, but every time I tell somebody, you should watch Community on Amazon Prime.
And nobody did.
Nobody did, but now it's on Netflix, and everybody's like,
"Oh yeah, this is good. This is a good show." Just like, yeah, I told you. Thank you for finally coming around to it. Now that you had nothing else to do and you were forced to watch it.
Yeah, Abed is a force.
Abed is a shaman. You ask for salt, he gives you a bowl of soup.
My favorite moment is when he's like, "All right, here's the plan, guys," and then he starts whispering. Like, Jeff's like, Abed, how many times did it tell you? If you start whispering, nobody's gonna just tell us the plan. And he does the same thing. He's like, here's the plan, guys.
And then it cuts to
cuts a montage.
Love it.
Oh man.
Do you think there's going to be a movie?
No. I don't see I mean, it'll be nice, but I don't see it being amazing or great. It's just like, I'm very okay with letting things end. Like, all right, you did whatever amount of seasons. It's good. It's good. Move on with your life. Move on to other things.
Did you see that they're doing a table read for charity coming up? I think Monday, or like a week from Monday, something like that.
That's very cool.
Exciting times.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody, I think it's everybody but Chevy.
Chevy, good old Chevy. I'll be in this trailer until you get me a trailer.
I'll be a living god.
Yeah, I like when people in shows start doing things that are like not parallel, but like similar to what they used to do, not like continue doing the show like do a podcast like I know Joel McHale and the Doctor.
Ken Jeong.
Yeah.
Put some respect on his name.
Doctor.
Dr. Dr. Ken Jeong.
Dr. Ken Jeong. Jamie, pull it up.
But yeah, I saw that they had a show to discuss Community. I haven't actually listened to anything past like the first 10 minutes of episode 1. It has an interesting energy from the parts I heard of it.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah, I like that. Like when people do things like that, it's cool because you know it's not exactly the same, but it's iterating.
Mm-hmm. Any other content you've been keeping an eye on?
Content? What kind of content?
Any piece of media, TV, movies, music. Seen any good movies lately? You know, the classic thing you say to someone you haven't talked to in a while. This weather. I wonder how many classic tropes of that ilk have come up on this episode. We got crazy weather, huh?
Crazy weather, huh?
See any good movies lately? Yeah. Note to self: don't be repetitive.
No, it's a podcast. If you have a formula, then you can make the formula better. You can iterate from the formula. It's like anything. I'm turning on my AI noise reduction. Let me know if it's working. Putting some AI juice powder. Have you tried that RTX noise reduction
I have
from
not.
Goodwill? It's crazy when it works. It doesn't always work. Yeah, AI. I have watched. What did I watch? Do you know? Well, I watched A Scanner Darkly 2 days ago.
Ooh,
The
rotoscoped film with Keanu.
Keanu, Robert Downey, Winona. Good movie. I liked it. It's like dystopian. It's cool. I watched. I've been watching a lot of Ghost in the Shell, the old anime. It's great. I love it. I love that world. I'm watching the new Netflix one just to see if it's any good. It's all right.
There was a movie about it, or like there was an American movie
Yeah,
release of it, right? That
ScarJo one. ScarJo.
ScarJo.
Yeah, I loved the look of that movie. That movie looked great. Outside of the story, outside of the acting, outside of anything, I watch movies sometimes because they look dope, and that movie looks dope. Like people are like, "Oh, shitty movie, whatever." I'm gonna watch it again. It looks dope. I'm gonna look at it. Like I'm not as drawn to stories as long as like even in games, I play games for the mechanics, like gameplay mechanics.
Mhm.
Like okay, the story's cool, I'm attached to it, but like if they stop the story and tell me keep killing people, I'm like, oh my no.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
And if everything else fails, at least have a cool spectacle.
Yeah, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
don't know.
there's got to
I
be
don't
something to like about
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. And same thing with when I'm reading books, I'm like not as drawn to. Have you read anything good recently?
Medallion Status by John Hodgman is a collection of stories from his life
That's good.
about secret rooms, essentially.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, what is it called? Medallion?
Medallion Status. Because, like, do you know who John Hodgman is in the abstract? He was the PC in those Mac versus PC ads. Just like a tweety professor looking type guy, old white dude.
Serious?
Yeah, 100% serious.
Okay. What about him? Like, was he actually involved in cool things? I thought he was just an actor.
Uh, he is, but he like went to Yale, and Yale is famous uh, for its secret societies of sorts, and also just like as a person in a privileged position, he gets access to a lot of rooms that maybe us people never get the chance to see or hear about.
Cool. So you recommend it?
Yes, I recommend everything that John Hodgman has ever put out.
What else has he put up?
There was a trilogy of novels containing complete world knowledge called The Areas of My Expertise. A lot of it is just fake facts, not to say
Ooh.
not to be confused with fake news in any way, but just like catalogs and catalogs of information that is entirely made up. It's a fun read. And then there's also Vacation Land, which is a memoir of sorts chronicling his life and the sort of mortality of of white privilege, in a sense.
Ooh.
And that's like a
I
very
didn't know about
personal
this
read.
person. This person exists. Anything else you've been reading? So,
Uh,
did you read all of his books?
yes, and I also heard the audiobook versions,
Oh,
which are fun.
ooh. I
They
like
are.
audiobooks more than books.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, it's like, why say many words when listening to say few?
Gotta take this moment to plug Audible, which I think
Audible.
is
I
owned
want to
by
take this moment.
Amazon.
Please visit chriswa.com/audible. No, it's the other way.
Chris
Audible.com/chriswa.
Hua.
That's right.
Audible.com/HWDTLT. I think
Oh, oh, that's mouthy, man.
I
Almost
think I
there.
nailed the initialization though for the first time because I on ooh I think on my third episode someone asked like what the URL was for this show and it was like anchor.fm slash and then I just had to think about like what the letters were and that is a
Hello,
terrible experience.
hello. We don't talk.
Let's talk.
WD
TLT.
TLT. It's almost like TLDR.
Yep, it's mostly in there. There was another podcast I listened to called How Did This Get Played? Um, and for a while their Twitter handle was HDTGP Pod, which is also a mouthful. And then they kept bungling it every time they did their little social media plug at the end of the show until it eventually changed to at Get Played Pod, which is much nicer to hear.
Yeah, yeah. Like podcast, it's this whole new thing. I like it. I thought of a podcast that I would do that is things that shouldn't be on a podcast, like
How do you
have
mean?
like having an airband on.
Did you know that I think there's like uh there's an entire podcast dedicated to sitting silent in a room for like 30 minutes and then at the end the host just like turns to the guest and says thank you for your time and then the guest is just like yeah
Go to
here's like a quick plug.
audible.com/sitting in your room for 30 minutes to get your free book about sitting in your room for 30 minutes.
Hell yeah.
What's that podcast called?
I don't know. This could also be made up whole cloth, but it feels like I read somewhere that was a thing that existed, so I'm just gonna purport it as a thing that exists currently.
Okay, we heard about it somewhere.
If I
Sounds valid.
if I find it, I will tell you about it. So in case you run into like any legal trouble
Okay.
with your concept podcast.
Yeah. It's just a funny concept podcast. Like,
Hell yeah.
what else should not be on a podcast? Like describing nature, maybe, or like
Basically, most things with a visual component.
yeah, anything with a visual component. I don't know. You coming up with an idea for a podcast can't be easy because you got to do over and over again if you're like
Oh yeah.
whatever amount of time. It has to be formulaic enough that you have content, but you can still iterate on it. I think that's why I think this is a good podcast.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of people in my life. I think my Facebook list has like 300 people that I can feasibly contact to arrange to be on the show.
What will you do when you run out of people?
Uh,
Go on again?
so here's the thing about doing a weekly show and that many people. Let's say that I actually only talk to like maybe 50 of my friends. Even that seems incredibly high. But
That's a year.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So then that would be like 5 years between like my first guest appearing the first time and me going through the entire list of my friends. And I
So
think
you have time
and I
to do
think
that.
as long as I go back to the old habit of never talking to people after they appear on the show like I did before they appeared on the show, I'm golden.
Love it. That's great. No,
Uh,
yeah.
as a listener, is there any feedback you would like to give?
Um,
Because I am open to it.
you can do things with your guests other than talking. If you find somebody is boring, like me, you can like play games with them. But I guess that's not exactly exciting for people listening. That's more fun for you. Now that I think about it.
We could do a classic mind meld. The technically first episode of the show I did back in 2018, and it was it was in a time where I could occupy physical space with someone. So there's this improv exercise that called mind meld. It may be known by other names to other people who use the same exercise, but it's basically like you get two people, me and you. myself and my guest. Each of them just thinks of a word. They count down, they say their word. Then they must think of the compromise word between those two words, and the game continues until they say the same word.
Well, okay.
You down? You down?
Yeah, I'm down. I don't know if I'll be any good. I'm not good at word games. English is not my first language. So
True.
Let's do it. It's gonna be very weird. Not good, maybe.
Nah, I believe in you.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Think of a word.
Just think of any word.
Any word. Okay.
And if we manage to think of the same word off the top, it's incredible. That's just
How
like
abstract can
that
a word be?
any amount of abstraction.
Oh god.
This could technically go on for a while, and if it goes on too long, I may just cut it out of the show.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it's gonna cut
Yeah, it's
out.
fine.
Um,
I have editing capabilities on the audio side. On the video side of things, I've the raw video feed just gets posted to YouTube.
no.
Speaking of no, I forgot to record from the actual Zoom, so I need to like pull the video off of my Twitch, which is fine. It's just a bit more of a hassle.
Wait, this is live?
Yeah, surprise.
No, that's also one of the things that's basing on podcasts. Is like this is like.
Oh, right. This is radio, right?
This is radio, right? Okay, mind melt. Okay, I have a word.
I also have a word. All right, let's go.
1,
2, 3. Clown.
box.
Clown and box.
Okay.
Okay, I have a word. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. So another thing about the mind meld is that you can't say the same word that you can't say a word that has already been said.
Okay. Okay. I have one.
Yeah, me too. All right. 1, 2, 3. Spring.
Jack.
I thought about saying Jack. Should have just done it. No.
I was. Wait, what did you say? Spring?
Spring. Because of the Jack in the Box.
Why didn't you say
I don't know. I got in my own head about whether or not I was like
spring and Jack?
because like what I want to say was Jack in the Box, which is just like 4 words hyphenated together to make one word. Oh no! But like it has the word box in it, so I couldn't say box. So I should have just said Jack. But now we have Jack and Spring, which, ooh, this is harder. This is much harder.
This game is great.
Yeah. It's a great way to kill a car ride. Just like time on a car ride. I think I have my word.
You can't say words that you've already said.
Correct.
Okay, I have one.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Rabbit.
Car.
Rabbit and car?
Yeah, car, because you have a jack and a spring.
Yep.
Jack the car out of the
Yep, I see it. I see it.
What's a rabbit?
Rabbit? Like a jackrabbit?
Box? Jack.
Jackrabbit, I think also a spring rabbit is a type of rabbit. But anyways, no, we got this.
Spring rabbit.
Car and rabbit, I got mine.
Wait, I feel like I should know what you can go for. 'Cause you got yours really fast. And I'm thinking about what.
This could be a second language type of scenario where it may not be a word you've ever heard before.
I feel like it's a pack. I shouldn't say what I'm thinking. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I have
Okay.
a word.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Roadkill.
Golf.
Roadkill and golf.
Rabbit. It's a Volkswagen Golf Rabbit.
Oh,
What did you say?
roadkill.
Roadkill. Oh yeah, that would work. So golf and roadkill.
Hmm. This is exciting podcast content.
Yeah. two people thinking. This is a good time to tell everyone trim silence in your podcast player.
That's my job. That is the one. So in the earlier episodes, I've made mention, I think possibly every time that I don't edit the podcast. But I think last week, due to all the technical difficulties, I like actively trimmed out silence as much like within reason to give a sense of like, okay, these are people just sitting at a desk waiting for something to happen, a connection to be reestablished. I was like, nah, nobody wants to hear that. I'm gonna get those out of there. Golf and roadkill. I have a word. All right. 1, 2, 3. Club.
I was sorry. I was gonna say club. I swear.
Excellent.
Yes, I swear I was gonna say club.
Either way, that is how we play Mind Meld.
I for some reason in tab we looked at something and
It's all good.
Fun, actually. I like that game.
Hell yeah. Bring it to your next party as a way to break the ice.
Stop being excited and let's sit down and mind meld. 50 of us at the same time.
Dylan, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Is there anything you would like to plug at this time? I will set this to speaker view so that you get the full frame to just stare down at your camera. Go for it. Anything to plug?
No.
Excellent.
If you want to follow cool pictures, I post cool pictures on my Instagram.
And that handle is?
That handle is, I'll have to pull up my Instagram. My handle is Delan Magenta. Delan.magenta. DELAN. Here, let me see.
You're...
Do this low tech. As low tech.
Your color modifiers on usernames definitely skew towards one part of the spectrum. The royal part. Because Dylan, you are a king. Thank you so much for your time. It was good catching up with you.
Thank you. It was very fun being here. Thank you for having me on.
And if anybody watching or listening to this show wants to appear, send me a message on any platform. Facebook, Twitter @tofuhua, YouTube comments, YouTube direct messages, Twitch direct messages, Twitch chat, Twitch @tofuhua87, youtube.com/going viral. Don't ask anything about why I chose that because that's not my branding at all.
Going viral. That's a terrible thing to say nowadays.
Ooh, you're right. I need to get canceled on YouTube actually. So
cancel culture. Yeah, you know what? The best thing to be included in cancel culture is canceling yourself. You're like, I'm so in the culture of canceling things.
Get me out of here.
Get me out of here.
It is social suicide. But yeah, good time, Dylan. Stay safe out there.
Thank you.
And I'll catch you later.
Catch you on the flip side.
Take care.